Dust in the air, built every dream with blood and prayer. They said stay quiet, fall in line, but this fire in us won't die. We've been pushed to the edge, still standing tall. When the walls close in, we climb the wall. We never back down, this is how we win. When it's all on the line, we rise again. Hear freedom calling, let the fight begin. It's time for the red wave to begin. From Main Street lights to late night scars, we chased our hope through broken parts. They try to split us, break our name, but we're stronger in the flame. Every heartbeat louder now. Feel the thunder in this crowd. We never back down, this is how we win. Through the dark and the doubt, we rise again. Let it roll like fire on the wind. It's time for the red wave to begin. This is our moment, our stand, our fight. Light in the dark with American light. No more fear, no more chains. We were born for this change. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down, never back down. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down. We never back down. This is how we win. When the world says stop, we push again. Let it shake the ground we're standing in. It's time for the red wave to begin. Hearts on fire, voices loud. Never back down. We won't bow. We won't bow. Boots on the ground, dust in the air, built every dream with blood and prayer. They said stay quiet, fall in line, but this fire in us won't die. We've been pushed to the edge, still standing tall. When the walls close in, we climb the wall. We never back down, this is how we win. When it's all on the line, we rise again. Hear freedom calling, let the fight begin. It's time for the red wave to begin. From Main Street lights to late night scars, we chased our hope through broken parts. They try to split us, break our name, but we're stronger in the flame. Every heartbeat louder now. Feel the thunder in this crowd. We never back down, this is how we win. Through the dark and the doubt, we rise again. Let it roll like fire on the wind. It's time for the red wave to begin. This is our moment, our stand, our fight, light in the dark with American light. No more fear, no more chains. We were born for this change. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down, never back down. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down. We never back down. This is how we win. When the world says stop, we push again. Let it shake the ground we're standing in. It's time for the red wave to begin. Hearts on fire, voices loud. Never back down. We won't bow. We won't bow. Boots on the ground, dust in the air, built every dream with blood and prayer. They said stay quiet, fall in line, but this fire in us won't die. We've been pushed to the edge, still standing tall. When the walls close in, we climb the wall. We never back down. This is how we win. When it's all on the line, we rise again. Hear freedom calling, let the fight begin. It's time for the red wave to begin. From Main Street lights to late night scars, we chased our hope through broken parts. They try to split us, break our name, but we're stronger in the flame. Every heart beat louder now. Feel the thunder in this crowd. We never back down. This is how we win. Through the dark and the doubt, we rise again. Let it roll like fire on the wind. It's time for the red wave to begin. This is our moment, our stand, our fight, light in the dark with American light. No more fear, no more chains. We were born for this change. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down, never back down. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down. We never back down. This is how we win. When the world says stop, we push again. Let it shake the ground we're standing in. It's time for the red wave to begin. Hearts on fire, voices loud. Never back down. We won't bow. We won't bow. Boots on the ground, dust in the air, built every dream with blood and prayer. They said stay quiet, fall in line, but this fire in us won't die. We've been pushed to the edge, still standing tall. When the walls close in, we climb the wall. We never back down. This is how we win. When it's all on the line, we rise again. Hear freedom calling, let the fight begin. night scars. We chased our hope through broken parts. They try to split us, break our name, but we're stronger in the flame. Every heartbeat louder now. Feel the thunder in this crowd. We never back down. This is how we win. Through the dark and the doubt, we rise again. Let it roll like fire on the wind. It's time for the red wave to begin. This is our moment, our stand, our fight. Light in the dark with American light. No more fear, no more chains. We were born for this change. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down, never back down. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down. We never back down. This is how we win. When the world says stop, we push again. Let it shake the ground we're standing in. It's time for the red wave to begin. Hearts on fire, voices loud. Never back down. We won't bow. We won't bow. Boots on the ground, dust in the air. Built every dream with blood and prayer. They said stay quiet, fall in line, but this fire in us won't die. We've been pushed to the edge, still standing tall. When the walls close in, we climb the wall. We never back down. This is how we win. When it's all on the line, we rise again. Hear freedom calling, let the fight begin. It's time for the red wave to begin. From Main Street lights to late night scars, we chased our hope through broken parts. They try to split us, break our name, but we're stronger in the flame. Every heartbeat louder now. Feel the thunder in this crowd. We never back down. This is how we win. Through the dark and the doubt, we rise again. Let it roll like fire on the wind. It's time for the red wave to begin. This is our moment, our stand, our fight. Light in the dark with American light. No more fear, no more chains. We were born for this change. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down, never back down. Hands up high, hear the sound. Never back down. We never back down. This is how we win. When the world says stop, we push again. Let it shake the ground we're standing in. It's time for the red wave to begin. Hearts on fire, voices loud. Never back down.
America's Pulse Network and the Jersey Shore podcast are live streaming a town hall meeting tonight featuring Justin Murphy, candidate for Senate, and Damon Galdo, candidate for Congress, District 1 in New Jersey. The event is being broadcast live from the Medford Community Center. You can participate by submitting your questions via chat on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble.
Drink in the back. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jack Brangan. Thank you for coming. Just so everybody knows that this evening is live streamed across the entire United States into the solar system. It's out there, so that's what this microphone is for. So there's no PA system, but what we're going to do is the format will be that we'll take some questions from the audience. This is a very informal event here. There's nothing formal about this. So we'll take your questions, and we got a couple backup questions that we'll also give to the candidates, and we'll have the candidates give a sort of an open statement. And while they're doing that, you might contemplate some questions you might have, and this could be local questions, national questions, whatever crosses your mind. So I do want to mention, as I said, my name is Jack Brangan. I'm from Cherry Hill, and I did run for Assembly in LD6 the last go-round. And in November, these guys are in the barrel. And then after that, the next time I'm going to give it another shot in Cherry Hill, see if we can, get a Republican win in LD6. Get a Republican win anywhere would be really great, someplace, right? So I do a podcast on Tuesday, the second and fourth Tuesday of every month with Constance Stitzel. Constance, you want to stand up for a second? She was a candidate for Assembly as well in LD5, which is right next door. And Constance and I do a podcast called New Jersey State House Watch, and we focus directly on Trenton. So we don't do anything national. You really need to know what's going on in Trenton because there's a lot of bad stuff going through the legislature. As you probably know, we are now a sanctuary state, and they've nailed that down with 4 bills. I won't get into the nitty-gritty, but bad things are happening, right? And we've got Mikey Sherrill and Delaney Hall. This is a woman, she's auditioning to be president. There's no doubt in my mind. She's there as an alternative to Kamala Harris, and she's doing her thing. Come on in, sit down.
If you want to give me your email address before the night is over, you can put you on our mailing list for a newsletter that we put out from time to time. But when there's a call to action, so you can be aware of a bill and send it a note to your senator, make a phone call, and say, don't want this or do want this. Then let me know before the end of the night, and I'll add you to the list.
Yeah, what we do is we bring legislatures, so it's not just Constance and I talking. We'll bring in, we had Paul Canitra, Dawn Fantasia, Vicki Flynn. These are all legislators in Trenton. And we're scheduling some things on child trafficking. Detransitioning is another. We're trying to get Chloe Cole, if she'll, call us back. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things to talk about, but we're here to talk about these two gentlemen. So who would like to go first with an opening statement? In the meantime, think about a question or something to ask them.
Age before beauty.
Hello, everyone. If you can hear me okay. Thank you for coming. It's been a long road. Tuesday, June 2nd is right around the corner. And I know we've met in this place a number of times. This is our 4th event, I think, at least this year in this cycle, not to mention the ones we had throughout 2025 and 2024 when I had the privilege and honor to ask for your vote for that nomination. So finish line is in sight. And I want to sincerely thank all of you that have walked every step of the way with me in our campaign. You've come to our events, you've donated money, you've opened your homes and hearts to me, and I cannot thank you enough. Now, you know me by now. I'm a pro-life Reagan conservative, and if I say it anymore, it's a broken record, right? And I said that the other day, and a young person asked me what a record was. And I started to explain, it's a piece of circular vinyl that plays music. And they looked at me. I said, never mind. I said, that means you repeat yourself. So they got that. But thank you for that very much. And I did get my hair cut. And it's a big deal for some people. And I had two things happen to me to make me get my hair cut. Number one, I was walking into Alligators to speak to the Federated Women of Camden County. And I'm walking down the sidewalk to go in to speak to these great girls and women. Claire, of course, was there. And I walked by this woman who I didn't know, never met her before in my life. And she turned to me and she said, "Sir, your mullet is inspiring." I said, "I don't have a mullet." Fast forward to another event I went to. The Taiwanese New Jersey Chamber of Commerce up in Iselin the other week was one of the most fantastic events I went to. A great bunch of people, great Americans. They're Taiwanese. They don't like communist China, and they're very business oriented. They're just great, wonderful people. And a little Taiwanese woman came up to me and she said, "You look like you sing for Duran Duran." So I ran to the barbershop to get a damn haircut. And Jack's daughter cut my hair. Jack's daughter. But I want to thank everyone for coming.
As instructed.
As instructed, yeah, not to take too much off. But thank you again. I just can't thank you enough for sharing this with me. It's such an honor and privilege to have the opportunity to seek federal office. Of all the 8 billion people on this planet, few people will ever have that opportunity as I have had, and I know Damon and the other candidates. So I thank you for that. I want to acknowledge we have some people seeking office here from Pemberton Township. We want to wish those folks the best. We also have Jack McGinnis, a mayor and deputy mayor of Tabernacle, New Jersey. Yes, my hometown. Current mayor of Chemung, Mayor Mike. Wonderful. Heather McGarvey is here. Heather is seeking a seat on Township Committee in Chemung. She's a candidate this year with a competitive primary, and we hope that she pulls that off a win. She's also municipal chair of the county committee. So we've got a good Claire Gustafson. She is the state committee woman and a number of other things. So many titles, I probably forget half of them. She's a regional chair with the Federated Republican Women statewide. She's been a former congressional candidate for the seat that Damon is now seeking in CD1. And so she's been very supportive and always out looking for the best interest for the party throughout the state. She works very hard as a state committee woman from Camden County, and she will travel anywhere and do anything to better the party. And I thank everyone for coming. So, yeah, Joe Saraday. Joe Saraday, our Young Republicans. We've got to have young Republicans if we're going to have a tomorrow for our party. And Joe, thank you for all you do. And I know the time that you and your friends put in, we need you. Keep in there. Politics is a tough business, but stay in there. Jerry from Hainesport. Jerry Claus, a good friend of mine, former deputy mayor and mayor of Hainesport. So an official, and thank you. So last night we had a debate. The four of us, the four candidates, NewJerseyGlobe.com. Did anybody watch it? Okay, good. I was wondering how many people can get out there. It'll be replayed. C-SPAN is actually going to show it tonight or tomorrow, the next day. New Jersey Globe, it's still on their website, which was good. And I wanted to emulate tonight one more time before June 2. We had a town hall out in Monmouth County in Long Branch, the public library. And Damon did all the production work for that, got everything set up. And we had about the same number of people come out. About 20, 30 people came out and fired questions at us. It was very good, live streamed to get it out on social media. Come to find out, we've had how many hits and views for that?
Over 500,000.
Yeah, that's why we're here. So we're not just here practicing for if I can debate Cory Booker this November. We can actually get a huge social media splash out of this beyond. I was shocked when the girl who was helping put this event together in Monmouth County, I said, how many people viewed it? She says, 100,000. I said, no, they didn't. She said, yeah. I said, how many people watched the whole thing analytically? She said, 47,000. That you can't knock on that many doors in one election cycle. So thank you for coming. We're going to take your questions, fire away. It's a town hall. It's unscripted. You're going to get us light on our feet. And I'm going to give the mic to our good friend Damon Galdo, who you talk about a battle. CD1, and Claire, I know you've run to take on the Norcross machine down there to flip a district red okay, but a blue-collar guy can do it, I think.
Thank you, Justin. So first off, thank you everyone who showed up tonight to come out here. It's exciting to see people actually come out physically and for something like this, because it shows that people care, that people really do want change in New Jersey. And I won't go as long as Justin, because he covered basically everything for me, announcing everybody.
Stop talking so much.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you did it. So, but no, I just want to say, the New Jersey Globe has nothing on America's Pulse Network, so that's why we started this. So I'm trying to throw it out there. Hope they see it too. The reason I'm running for Congress, I have 2 young children, and it was as soon as Biden got in, I saw what was going on, and especially in New Jersey too. It's been under blue Democrat rule for decades now, and they're pricing people out of their houses. It's too expensive to live here. It is. I mean, if you look at property taxes just going up, I think we're the highest property taxes in the country. And I always say this, and I'll say it again, because I don't know if you ever saw the movie Bronx Tale, when Sonny went and locked the door and says, "No, you can't leave." So, and if you try to leave New Jersey, they hit you with an exit tax on the way out. So there's a lot of things that need to be changed in New Jersey. Everything with the school system, and I love my kids more than anything, and I love the future of everyone else's kids too. So we have to do something. And then, as Constance loves me to say all the time, she loves the quote from Edmund Burke, that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And that goes for women too, but that's his quote. So just so you know. Yeah. So, but all right. So I guess we'll just get started off, because I'm looking forward to some questions from everybody, and I'm excited. So thank you, Justin, for setting this up.
Thank you for coming.
So there you go.
Okay, 500,000 people are going to be watching. If you want to take a minute, put your lipstick on, and guys, pull that stomach in. Make sure everybody's sitting up straight in their chairs. So who wants to start? Claire, you want to start? Or maybe a young Republican in the back, Joe?
The future.
We'll save the best for last.
Okay. Who do we have? Okay, and this is Kathy, right? Okay.
I was just wondering if you have any favorite podcasts that you listen to.
Did I get the America's Pulse Network?
Okay, yeah. But I mean, other than that.
Podcasting is becoming so big now. I mean, it is a huge vehicle
Yeah.
for people to attain news. And,
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's technology that allows it to happen. And I think it's good when anybody can say, I have a voice, I'm going to say something, and I'm going to amplify it to cyberspace. And that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasting, to me, I really didn't take a liking to it until Damon introduced me and had me on the America's Pulse Network.
I'm gonna sign up.
No, please do it. They have wonderful hosts and guests. And he had Congressman Van Drew on, I think, a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I know Jack and Connie are doing good things with their podcast, the State House Watch. So it is a good way to get some unfiltered news.
Yeah.
And I
That's
encourage
important.
everyone to, just surf the web and look for your favorite one.
So are you on like YouTube or Rumble or?
Well, what my campaign has done, and on my website, at the very top there, we have icons that link to our YouTube channel. I make issue videos, our Facebook page.
Okay, great.
X account, Instagram, Truth Social, and I have a TikTok account.
Awesome.
I mean, we try to reach everybody where you can and make the biggest splash that you can. I'm not a very technical person, so the cyberspace. But no, it was.
She's laughing, and I'm like.
No, I'm not about the work. I really am about the work. But I think podcasting is great. Damon, you probably know a lot more about it than me.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot, especially for a great producer, man behind the scenes, Elder Damon, who's over there. And I'm hoping that this is streaming clearly, because we were having technical difficulties with the router, because we're in a bad spot here. But it looks like it is. I'm looking at my phone. But I think I started a podcast because I figured that media can be more powerful than politics sometimes. Because what do people watch when they get home? They're watching news. It doesn't matter if they're watching MSNBC or Fox, or it doesn't matter, but that's where they get their information. So when we started to put this America's Pulse together, and my podcast is Jersey Shore, SURE, our goal was to get podcasters from every state in the country, and we've started getting more and more and more. And then when we got our White House press passes and our White House press correspondent, it started to take off. And I mean, we're not huge,
But you're more into the pulse of your demographic.
Yes,
And
yeah, but that's why my show is Jersey Shore.
Yes.
But we have other shows that from Maryland, Florida, and other states as well. But so yeah, I like their podcast, and I listen to I like the Daily Wire. I listen to Matt Walsh.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. So so that's the podcasters I like.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I know Claire has one. And
Hi, Claire Gustafson, Camden County. My question is to both of you, although it's a very different question for both of you. What is the first thing you will do when you're elected, when you get to Congress, and when you get to the Senate floor? What's your priority issue to address?
My priority, after I say a bunch of Hail Marys and wonder how God did this and put me in Washington, my priority, Claire, would be to identify like-minded senators and caucuses that I can advance the legislative priorities I have. Number one is, there's a Freedom Caucus in the House, and I think there's something in the same in the Senate. I would look for who shares my legislative priorities and see what we can do to start to get legislation drafted and co-sponsored and introduced into the appropriate committees and subcommittees that has a jurisdiction. Who do I look for? My priorities, of course, I want to abolish the 70,000-page Internal Revenue Code, make everyone's life easier, and see who really wants to work on getting a flat tax piece of legislation to the president's desk. He has expressed from his office, President Trump, that we need a new system of taxation. I don't think he was kidding when he said we should try to find a way to have tariffs fund our government. I don't think we can do that, practical matter, but when you're talking about a new system of taxation, now might be the time. Strike while the iron's hot. So that is one thing I would do. Other legislative priorities, of course, is parental rights and medical freedom and what the federal government can do to protect parental rights. We got a young one here tonight, a beautiful young girl, and it's the tomorrow. She's even younger than Joe back there. That's the kind of young Republican she is. But it's the children. I've never been married. I don't have kids, but I'm smart enough to know that your children today are your adults tomorrow. So parental rights, we have over 100 years of Supreme Court jurisprudence recognizing and enshrining in constitutional law, constitutional precedent, that parental rights are fundamental rights. So we need to find our allies. Okay, and then from there you find your allies in each individual state, because some states are very hostile to parental rights, like, New Jersey. I went to Russo's Farm Market yesterday to pick up my bundle of vegetables or whatever, and I was very happy to see 2 ABC News vehicles in the parking lot. I said, they must be here for me. So I went over to the girl and I jokingly said to this woman, I said, what are you doing here? And she kind of looked at me. I said, no, I'm seriously, why are you here? She goes, Governor Sherrill was here today. I said, she was here in Tabernacle? She said, yeah, she left a little while ago. So I'm glad I didn't cross paths with her. I did miss her, fortunately. But, we do have to, at the federal level, then we look how we can conjoin with states to get legislation passed. But that's how you pass legislation. It's a numbers game in Washington. You have to find the caucuses and the committees and the chairs have a lot of power, which is why whether or not your party is middle or leaning right or left at the given time, you want to be in charge of the House and the Senate, because the chairman of the committees and the subcommittees control the legislative agenda. And that's why it's important to make sure we retain control of that. But that is what I would do. Like-minded allies, see how, and then you take it from there, first thing.
All right. So Justin already took the school thing away from me, because that's very important to me, because I have 2 young children. But I'll go with, on the federal level, what I would do. One of my biggest issues is that we are a sanctuary state. So we pay $7.3 billion in state taxes to be a sanctuary state for illegal immigrants. So I would push legislation to pull federal funding from the state of New Jersey. It might hurt at first, but to make them, I'm going to squeeze them then to get rid of the sanctuary state status, because the Democrats love it. They don't care. They want them to vote, and really push for the SAVE Act. I mean, hopefully it gets passed, before the election. That'd be great, because it would help all of us out. So yeah, that's basically that. They're the first two things that I would definitely want to do. Absolutely, 100%. So, and then also I would put regulation on data centers, and we need data centers for AI. It is the future. We can't let China beat us on that.
Yeah.
But it needs to be regulated. Like they're trying to put a data center in Monroe Township, and that's in the Pinelands. Pinelands are protected, and they're going to draw from well water to cool them off. So there's this thing. It's called coning. If you suck too much water out, then the wells will shift and go deeper. And there's a lot of farms there, so a lot of people are against it. I don't blame them. They need to go somewhere else. Don't put it in the protected area of the Pinelands. Don't put it in your farms. And it's $1 trillion industry. So there's enough money where they can pay for a cooling system and take domestic water. So I would push legislation for that as well.
My name is Mike DeCroce. I'm the mayor of Chemung, and I appreciate you gentlemen coming out this evening. I wondered what your thoughts were about Governor Sherrill and Senator Kim going up to Newark to protest. Of course, if it were the other way around, the Democrats would be calling that a riot, but they call it a protest. But I wonder what your thoughts are of those dignitaries that are going out on Memorial Day, by the way, and trying to protect those criminals that should be deported from the country.
I'll take this one. That's absolutely disgusting. On Memorial Day, they didn't go and visit a veteran center or anything like that. They go to the Laney Hall. I believe that's where they went, to Laney Hall, and to try to protect illegal immigrants, people that are here that broke the law, that came to this country, and ignore veterans. It didn't say a word about veterans. Just went there. It just disgusts me completely. I mean, it's so anti-American, and I hope people see that and realize it, because it is. I mean, I don't even know how anyone could have voted for it, but that just shows you the type of person that they are. They don't care about our veterans. They care more about people that aren't citizens of this country, and that's that.
Reprehensible, sickening. To do it on Memorial Day, the day I purposely did not campaign on Memorial Day, because I don't think we should be campaigning on Memorial Day. For them to pull a stunt like that as elected officials, see, this indicates where the Democrat Party is today, and this is it's reprehensible, it's sickening, it's like treasonous and traitorous to me, but it's also not surprising. It's not surprising. I mean, they are so beholden to that radical Marxist base. If they're not lockstep with them, they're out in the next primary, and they know it. And so, it's a shame to say, but there's no more moderate Democrats out there. When I speak to people, I say often that, the Democrat Party nationally is hemorrhaging voters by the millions. And what happened up in Newark is why. It's not coming from a fringe group. It is their base. And then it's manifesting itself to the leaders of that party, our elected governor and our senator, U.S. senator. Are they not worried about right now the that thousands of Americans have either been murdered, assaulted, sexually assaulted, molested, child trafficked, gun running, gangbanging? Are they not worried about that? They're clearly drawing a line saying we're taking the side of the illegal alien and we're taking the side of the criminal. Everybody else can go pound sand. And the problem at the state level is there's no political competition in New Jersey. It's not enough. And without political competition, there's no consequence to their political actions. And until there are, we're going to see, unfortunately, more of this. On Memorial Day, the day we honor our nation's dead, and they pull a stunt like this, clearly just, the middle finger to everybody. It is so reprehensible. And I don't know if you can land-based it enough. I mean, but it's so acceptable to me. It's unacceptable, but I just accept that that's who they are now. The mask is off. They're not even trying to hide who they are. Okay, they're clearly taking the side of the criminal and the illegal alien, and not the tax-paying American, law-abiding American citizen. It's horrendous, right? But that's what this party is. One of the things we have to do this November as candidates and as a party is we have to ensure three things. Number one, the American people nationwide know and do not forget what the Democrat Party has become. I've said it's no longer the party of FDR. It's no longer the party of the World War II Depression-era Democrat. No longer the party of the Northeast blue-collar worker, Catholic. No longer the party of JFK. This is the Democrat Party today. It's not like a bunch of hoodlums went out there. This is the governor of this state. And for them to do it and not really feel ashamed or not to have any consequence to it, it's just reprehensible that an elected official at that level would act that way, in my opinion.
It is, Justin, and I'll add to that too. I mean, if you look at the Democrat Party now, I mean, they're out in the open. They're not hiding it. I mean, that it's blatantly out in the open. And you have people like Mandani getting elected in New York, like Cheryl here, obviously. And you see AOC, she's out there wearing a hijab, like cosplaying. I mean, they're not hiding anything. They want to completely change this country. And that's a major problem. And all Democrats, I used to be a Democrat a long time ago, but I didn't leave them. They left me. I was told to be a Democrat because I'm in the union. So as I went through my apprenticeship, we got to vote Democrat. But then you see what Norcross does. I mean, Norcross. I mean, the family is corrupt as the day is long too. So it's crazy. They were indicted 13 counts, for racketeering, and then they beat it. They were going to get indicted again, and then they some about statute of limitations and all that. So they're stealing our money, And another thing too, I want to mention as well was the Doge part. I think we need to up the Doge because all the corruption and all the money that we're losing. We are losing so much money in this country, but to other countries and people that are stealing it for not even from this country, but also from other countries, and they're shipping it overseas. We really need to have more oversight on that. But yeah, the Democrat Party is not. There's no future with them. None. Zero.
Agreed.
All right, my question is going to be more about the Republican Party in New Jersey. Do either of you have ideas on how to fix it? We are split between MAGA and establishment. And if you look across the country right now, Trump-backed candidates are crushing it. Where do you think we go from here to get the party back together in this state?
Well, we need to come together. I mean, we are split right down the middle, and it's a big problem. So one thing that I did was I reached out to Justin, obviously, and other candidates in CD3, CD6, CD12, and I talked to them, had them all on the show, and I said, listen, we need to get together. Obviously, your campaign is your campaign. You're going to run it. I'm not asking you for anything. I just think we need to show solidarity and be unified. Because anytime, I lost, I got behind the person that won. I mean, I was for Spady at first, and then I got behind Jack. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We need to come together. It's so important because the Democrats don't stick together. Good, bad, or indifferent. They don't care. But Republicans have the tendency, I always say, to run headfirst into a tree while kicking themselves in the ass. But that's it's the truth. I mean, you look at it in my counties that I'm representing. There's a big split down the middle between the Republican Party and trying to get it together. I mean, I can't do it all, but I'm going to keep pushing it, and I keep telling everybody this is why we lose. We really have to stick together. I mean, if somebody is wrong, you disagree, that's fine. But in the end, the Republican Party needs to show solidarity and show the people that we can win in New Jersey. And I think if we do that, then we will win.
Well, I'll just give a quick on that. I mean, traversing the state really for the past 2 years, okay, I can tell you that our party needs a little polish. There's always that fault line between the more moderates and then the more ideologically pure, the base of the party. The Democrats have it, the Libertarians have it, we have it. The reason it's more exacerbated with the Republican Party right now is because, number one, we're out of power in the state, and Republican voters are very agitated right now. And I see that and sense it, and I'm seeing it in every county that I go to, and I've seen it for the past, year and a half, 2 years. We're agitated because, we had a high expectation that Jack could win last November, and that was a big letdown. And then, when you have a letdown like that, you start to look for, well, why? And then the fingers start being pointed. The problem, the problem, there are problems, plural, not just one. There's no one single magic bullet with this. It's okay, as Damon said, to have the disagreements and everything, but we just all have to make sure it doesn't become so corrosive that we're hurting the party and hurting the brand in November. So how do you fix the party? We have a new chair. We have to give her a chance. I get along very fine with her. She's a nice person, but I think ideologically we're probably there's some daylight between us. But she just took over, and just so you're be aware, the real political power in the state, okay, is not with our state chairwoman, our state chairman, okay, although they can set direction and lead. Real political power in the state rests with our county chairs in the 21 counties of the state. That's where real political power is. And structurally, it's very difficult to get all of them on board to go the same direction and move at the same time. Some chairmen don't like other chairmen, so they won't work with them. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but it happens. This group of chairs is doing something that this group of chairs doesn't like, so there's this constant frickin' agitation. So how do we fix it? Well, number one, transparency. I do still think competitive primaries are the best way to put our foot forward as a party. And my involvement in New Jersey politics goes back to 1988. And if we nominated a conservative that I always worked for in the primary, that's who I voted for. If we nominated someone who was not so conservative, I looked at it like, well, it's still better than a Democrat. Maybe you're not as enthusiastic. But the Democrat Party today, there's such distance between us and the Democrats that even a moderate should be a lot more acceptable to more people. But how do we fix it? There's one word that we have to figure out the code to crack, and we haven't done it yet, and it's apathy. It's apathy. When I ran for this seat in 2024, we had a 20% turnout in the Republican primary. 1 million registered Republicans sat home and did not vote. A year later, for the governor primary, competitive, Jack and Billy and John Bramnick and Mario Kranjik, I think, was running also. 1.2 million Republicans stayed home and did not vote. So our problem is apathy more than anything, because we do need more voices to be heard and involved in the process and the system. Now, that in itself will invite disagreement and friction, but that's okay. But if it gets out of hand and becomes corrosive, the parameters are constructive debate, idea and exchange, and acceptance of a system, even if you don't like who may have won that primary. And that's incumbent upon all of us as individuals. The way I look for example, the way I run my campaign, I don't spend a dime on opposition research on my opponents. I worry about myself and being positive and optimistic, because I think until we inspire people as a party to vote for us, they're not going to. Not in the numbers that we need. Not in the numbers that we need. So I would tell people, don't fret a primary. It's okay. It's when it gets crazy and ridiculously negative and destructive, now it's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, and many counties have new chairs that have been elected in the last cycle, and many chairs are now being challenged by other people. So, the kind of headbutting is going to continue. It's not going away. It has to be, number one, acceptance of the result, even if you don't like it. And that's incumbent upon all of us. I talk to pro-choice women. I'm pro-life, and I do have exceptions for rape and incest and life of the mother. And I talk to pro-life women all the time, and they say, well, why should I vote for you? If you're pro-life, I said, because you know how many times I've pulled the lever for a pro-choice woman in this state, more than I've done for a pro-life candidate. And I'm happy to do it. I think Kim Guandona would have been a fantastic governor. I couldn't wait to vote for her. I think she was fantastic. I voted for Christy Whitman in 1993 because I didn't want Jim Florio to get reelected. And I wanted to punish him for his $2.8 billion tax increase. Yeah. So by example, I say, look, I vote for the moderates. I vote for the pro-choice. I vote for the people that are not necessarily as conservative as me. But that's one thing we have to do. We have to, Democrats are to the point now where, I'll give you the best example. Bob Menendez, when he was reelected last time for U.S. Senate in 2018, okay, he ran, and we forget this, he was indicted at the time. He was under federal indictment that included allegations of teenage prostitution. And got reelected in New Jersey with 1.8 million votes. Now, those 1.8 million people figured, you know what, that's still better than a Republican. Now, we have to start thinking that way. You know, am I going to sit home? You sit home, you're going to put a Democrat. It's a vote for a Democrat if you sit home. So we're outnumbered in the state. That's a problem where there's a high level of agitation. We do need some wins. We have to perform better, and then I think people will, lighten up a little bit. But I also point out there is good news here. We've got the most registered Republicans in the history of our state. It's almost 1.6 million. That's the most ever in the history of our country. When Kim Guandano ran for governor a couple of years ago, we only had half of that, about 800,000. So we've actually doubled our numbers. So good things are happening. Donald Trump won over 1.9 million votes in 24 November. That's the most ever a Republican presidential candidate ever took out of the state in the history of our country. And Jack Ciattarelli, for the horrible result that we had with Governor Tabernacle Russo's girl, now Mikey, he added 100,000 votes from his 2021 run. So we can work together. We can grow our party. We can increase our numbers, and we've been doing it. But the problem is we have a long way to go because we're so outnumbered in the state. There's 840,000 more registered Dems than us. That's a big hurdle, but we will get there. We do have to be patient and realize that, you know, if a moderate Republican, breaks something, that's a lot easier to fix than a Marxist Democrat getting in there that's going to structurally try to fundamentally change our state and our country for the worst. So it is about unity. Damon said we do have to be unified. Some of the things, it's just individuals have to make the decision themselves. I'm going to accept the result of the primary, even if I don't win. Even if my candidate doesn't win, I'll still vote. I'll still stay engaged, even if I don't like the person on this issue. We have to stop letting social media agitate us too. That's another big issue. But we can be together. Our numbers are growing. Obstacles are what you see when you lose sight of your goals. Okay, so just remember that little wisdom, and we'll just keep working hard and be patient, and things will work out. Good always defeats evil.
Amen.
I agree. At least in 1988, I was 7. So,
7 years old.
This is a perfect lead right into my question. So I wanted to know your guys' thoughts after the Supreme Court ruling on the redistricting maps, which I find kind of good because President Trump came out and openly said that he's not overly too concerned about the midterms because I think this ruling helps him in a big way. I wanted to know what you guys can do in the state of New Jersey as far as pushing the RNC and the GOP for advocating for these redistricting maps that the overruling from the Supreme Court came and how it could help New Jersey.
I'd have to really look into that, what Congress can do for redistricting, because I know the Supreme Court ruling, yes, definitely did help Republicans, and I know Trump he came out and said that, and I know the Democrats are trying to do a crazy amount of redistricting, and just cut out. You saw what they call it, the spider. It was, and then you got and then in Indiana you got the snake that goes through there. And it's insane, but they'll do whatever they can to cheat. So I will just stick by what the Supreme Court ruling is and make sure, whatever I can do possibly at all to make sure that it's fair, because I a Zoom call yesterday. I was being interviewed and then Democrats. I was the only Republican on there. I was, and it was a sorority, a women's sorority, and they asked me to come on. No, I didn't know.
Who is this? They didn't ask me.
No, they didn't. But I got an email, and so I had no idea they were all Democrats. And then everyone that was on, I was being interviewed were Democrats, and I was a Republican. And they said the name of the sorority, and I said, well, we should call this outnumbered. I said, because I'm the only Republican here. So I talked to him about that too. And one of the guys that was running for commissioner of Burlington County here, and he was mentioning how redistricting and sort of take away votes from if they don't do it, that'll take away votes from black and brown people, and the SAVE Act will do the same thing. He said, so I just simply said to him, I said, well, I don't think, the black and brown people are stupid. I said, I think they can get IDs, and I think that even if you redistrict, they can still go to vote. I mean, I said, he was driving actually at the time. And I said, well, you obviously have your license, and, and so you have an ID. I said, where are you registered to vote? I said, at motor vehicles. I said, anybody can get an ID. But it's just an excuse that Democrats use all the time, and it's fear mongering. That's what it is. And it's a racial divide that they push so much. And everybody knows Democrats are, founders of the KKK. Everyone knows that those are Republicans, and Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. So they have the voice. They own a lot of the media, and they push it out there more and more and more. And they're just the party of division, and that's what it is. So I would fight against it 100%.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, the party division. Tim, I think, and Tim's a school board member in Chemung too, and that's so critically important. We want to keep control of our school boards. Are you up this year?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a challenger? Or?
Not that I've heard yet.
Okay. All right. So Chemung is really active politically. You think it's quiet farming town? Nah, not a chance.
We want to keep it a quiet farm.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the problem. That's why it's like
Redistricting. I mean, I think the crux of it is until we are in control of the state legislature, we're not going to be able to draw the lines as we would like them. Now, different states have state legislative bodies do it, commissions do it that are supposed to be bipartisan or independent. I don't buy that for a second at all. But again, it's the party in power that draws the lines.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. I think the Supreme Court decisions were right when they said race cannot be a factor or the factor in drawing a congressional district. That's the right decision. I think, if I'm not mistaken, not too long ago, there was some Supreme Court jurisprudence that would allow race, but it could not be the predominant factor. And now I think the Supreme Court said, okay, race, get it off the table, which is what it should be. So we do have Supreme Court precedent now, a supremacy clause in our Constitution of all the land. And New Jersey, whether it's a commissioner or the legislative body, needs to abide by it. And we need to make sure that happens. When they don't, and we know they won't, what happens? We're going to wind up in court. Because this state says, well, Texas is going to do this, I'm going to do it to get more Democrat seats. And what I think the practical result of this in short term will be it's going to add to a lot of division and lack of confidence in the outcome of elections in this country. And for the short term, that's not good. No, that's not good for anybody. But there was a day in the 1990s where New Jersey had 7 of 13 congressional seats held by Republicans. Now we have 3 out of 12. And if Mikey Sherrill had her way, she would draw those 3 out. I don't know if she can, but Democrats will probably try to do that. So if it's a legal battle, you're going to wind up in court and relying on Supreme Court precedent to make your case that race should not be the factor using that. Well, what else can you do? Again, first of all, the federal government can and does give out block grant money, and they can put strings on it, as Damon mentioned earlier. Sanctuary cities, I believe, it's in my pledge. My sanctuary cities should be punished. They should not receive federal aid. In my opinion, they're magnets for the criminals and illegal aliens, and this is why you have these issues like we have up in Newark, which are reprehensible and disgraceful. So court decisions helping us, but we want to control legislative bodies too, because if you're in power, you draw the lines. Winning elections, right? Bottom line. Marion's ready.
My question is, what can you do about getting rid of motor voter? Because the motor voter registration is registering illegals. And they came to the polls, they had ID, they couldn't even speak English, and this is how we're losing our elections.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the thing is that the elections are run by the states. So the only thing that they can do, the same with the SAVE Act, it's only going to affect federal races. If they pass the SAVE Act, that they'll have to require ID. But the states control their own elections. So there's really not much you can do on a federal level for that other than what they're trying to push with the SAVE Act. I had a good conversation with Jeff Van Drew about that. He said it'll be hard. He said, but we're going to try, but that's the way it was designed. We left it in the hands of the states.
I support the SAVE Act. I just want to say I support the SAVE Act. And there was a federal law passed in 1993 by Bill Clinton and a majority of House Democrats and a majority of U.S. Senate Democrats for motor voter. And I think that was exactly the reason they did this. So it can be repealed. I think the SAVE Act would do that. So I know I support the SAVE Act. I know you do. Again, it's getting elected and having the numbers to enact your legislative agenda. That's one of the, Claire, that's something else I would do is let's find out who wants to support the SAVE Act. And if it's still an issue, we get down there and push it across the finish line. It needs to be passed, and I hope that the Congress can still do it before the midterm elections.
I just thought I would comment on that, Marion. Senator Kristen Corrado in New Jersey has put forth an amendment to the New Jersey thing about motor voter. And if you like, we can track that legislation and find out where that's going. And if people want to write or call and say, this is what we want, it might give some impetus on it. But this I just saw recently that she is putting in effect because there was a series of voter bills that just recently were passed in New Jersey. I think it was just March 23rd, that long voter day of the sanctuary state bills. They slipped in the John Lewis bill, and this includes tighter things in New Jersey, not to our favor. But she just came out with this recently. So we'll look into that, Jack, and see if we can get back to you on that in our party.
Democrats know if you win elections, you write the rules, and that's why they make it harder for us to win elections. I mean, the motor voter it's insane. It's incredible. Until we get, there's a lawsuit thankfully brought against New Jersey by the DOJ and the RNC, I believe. Right. And again, lawsuits take a long time. But that's one way. Hopefully, we can get these voter rolls cleaned up. If we do not have clean voter rolls, we do not have clean elections. I mean, we can have 5 million poll watchers and poll workers. We need clean voter rolls, and we have to clean them up.
Yeah, I have no confidence in the voter registration database, and I'm a little worried about the election coming up. Jack Ciattarelli, in his loss, actually garnered more votes than any Republican in the past 20 gubernatorial elections. He garnered more votes than any Democrat, even more than Phil Murphy in the past 20 elections. Election over election, you would expect about 200,000 more voters as you go through time. In this last election, Mikey Sherrill got 719,000 more votes. Now, 500,000, let's put it this way, 719,000 more voters voted. She got 500,000 of those votes. So she got most of them. Most of her votes came from Newark, Jersey City, and I don't know.
How strange.
Yeah. And if you look at where the concentration of illegal aliens are, it's in Newark, Jersey City, and Elizabeth. So a lot of red flags there.
I don't doubt it.
Hello, my name's Tracy Riccadelli. I'm running for Pemberton Councilwoman. My question to you is, you made the comment that it's really hard to live in the state of New Jersey right now. So what are you guys going to do when you get there to help us lower our electric bill and get some more electric to us so that we're not paying a mortgage payment for an electric bill a month?
Yeah. We have to, well, first, a lot of those issues are handled at the state and will be handled in Trenton, not Washington. Not to punt on it, because I think we run on the affordability issue. At the federal level, okay, these are one of the things we have to run on is Donald Trump's record for the first 18 months of his second term, because all midterms are a report card on the existing administration. Joe Biden gave us a 40-year high inflation rate of 9%, 8% interest rates, declining wages. I mean, there's no other way to burn the candle at both ends, right? So Donald Trump takes over. We now have our inflation rate and it's between 2.4 and 3.8. We've dropped the price of a gallon of gasoline. We've dropped the price of eggs. Okay, we have an inflation rate now that's much lower. It's a third of what it was. So these are things we can do at the federal level, but we need to be on offense and make sure people understand what we're doing and how it benefits them. We also have rising wages under President Trump. I mean, and bigger tax returns from the one big beautiful bill. So these are things we are doing at the federal level, hugely helpful to New Jersey families, but we need to make sure we win the battle of messaging and communication on it. because people don't realize it. They say, oh, gas is higher now than when he took office. Yeah, it's still below the $5 a gallon that Joe Biden saddled you with. And we have an issue now with the war in the Middle East. Believe me, that gas price will be coming down very soon. I'm convinced of that. But we are doing good things, and we're doing the right things for working American families and New Jersey families. We have to make sure that we're associated with the good things. I mean, my kind of punchline will be, hey, New Jersey, when Joe Biden saddled you with a 40-year high inflation rate of 9%, you didn't hear from Cory Booker. When you had gasoline per gallon over $5 a gallon, you didn't hear from Cory Booker. When your wages were declining under Joe Biden, you didn't hear from Cory Booker. When your border was open and we had rising crime rates, you didn't hear from Cory Booker. When your interest rate was at 8% and more, crushing the home ownership dreams for young Americans, you didn't hear from Cory Booker. So this November, Cory Booker gets to hear from all of us. We like the direction that Trump and the Republicans are taking us, but we better make sure that we're not getting stuck with the bad end of the deal and the short straw. Interest rates are lower, inflation is lower, wages are rising, you have a secure border. Okay, those are the affordability issues that we can really tackle at the federal level. The other things you mentioned, state, in-state, it's energy production. This is state matter. Now, next year, when we are electing state senators and state assembly, Jack and Connie, you guys, where you at there, it's going to be on your plate, because these are state issues. And I tell people, the problem with affordability in New Jersey is not Trump in the White House, it's the Democrats in the State House in Trenton that have been there for 25 straight uninterrupted years. And that's a battle of messaging and communication we have to win to rightfully blame them and keep and insulate ourselves from it and let people know what we are doing that is working and it's helping American families.
Good answer. Good answer.
So I would say on the federal level that working with local candidates. Now, the way I see it, there are people running for commissioner, for mayor. If I were to help, say I was help them get elected, and I am trying, because if people are going to elect them, then they're going to vote for me, vice versa too. So that's, again, got to stick together. I think that is the best way to do it. That's the best way to change it, because it is by the state. I mean, Murphy, he killed us with the energy. I mean, but those windmills, I mean,
no windmills.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's working together with the state and local leadership. Because if you're in Congress and you're still, for me, I'm still representing District 1 in New Jersey, and I'm going to be working with the local leadership as well. So, and you get Norcross out, maybe taxes will go down. Maybe we'll stop giving those tax breaks to American Water and Subaru and then Sixers, and because the way they do it, that this was part of the indictment from George Norcross. Now, I'm not saying he was guilty; he was found not guilty, but anyway, then they get $168 million tax break, and then who makes it up? We do. The people, the working class people. And Justin mentioned about the inflation too. I mean, and everyone's hurting from it. I'm a working class person. I'm a carpenter, and if you look at from like 2020 to during Biden's era, I think inflation was like, it rose 23%.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Yeah, and then yet they raised the minimum wage 85% from that time. And then working class people, their wages went up 22%. So we're in a net loss. So people were hurting big time. So,
yeah. Do you know anything about, usually, in blue states, I mean, industry, trying to build, sources of income here, that increase, cut taxes a bit, but they're not coming to these blue states, are they, because of that?
No, they're not, because they do have. If they're already here, it's one thing. But given, I'm just looking at the city of Camden itself, because what happened, the $1.6 billion that flowed through, his brother's firm, and where it went. And I have a good friend of mine that I actually built buildings for. He's a developer, and they beat him out of a lot of money, about $50 million, and he was part of that indictment. Well, he wasn't indicted, he was a witness for it. But yeah, so I again, going back to just people stealing our tax dollars. And, again, I know we're live here, I'm not accusing, I'm not saying that they did, but it kind of looks like it.
I mentioned I was at the Chamber of Commerce event the other night, and I spoke with a guy, a wonderful gentleman. He owns 10 hotels.
Okay.
And he said to me, I am done building in blue states. I can't do it. This is my issue. The computer chip has fundamentally changed the relationship between business, citizens, and government. Okay, here's what happens in the information age. You're a government official or a government entity. You have to realize, because of the computer chip, your jurisdiction, okay, can leave. Business can leave. Look what happens to California, Illinois, and New York, and New Jersey. Businesses leave. Okay, Johnson & Johnson and ExxonMobil just left North Jersey. Johnson & Johnson went to North Carolina because our income tax rate in New Jersey, our corporate rate is 11%, and North Carolina's is 2%. Now, where are they going? You have to structure your jurisdiction's system of taxation, country or state, and your regulatory schematic so you attract business and attract capital. You'll attract people. Who loses? The middle class and working poor. They need the economic opportunity and economic security. So when you have look at our states, higher taxes, more regulation, and it's flight. Look at New Jersey, and they don't seem to be bothered by it. I mean, look, California, Gavin Newsom, whenever it's brought up to him about the businesses and people leaving by them, he's like very flippant. I mean, look at the governor or the mayor of Seattle just recently? They said, was it Boeing or Starbucks was actually leaving? She's like, goodbye. Yeah. That was her response. I'm like, AOC, Jeff Bezos wanted to build an Amazon ground packaging distribution center in CD14 in New York.
Yeah.
Pay $150,000 average salary, middle class, gainfully employed. You think AOC, as the congresswoman from there, would have been thrilled and done everything she could to bring that to fruition. She did everything she can to kill it and killed it. And I would say to those people, you know what? She gets to keep her $174,000 a year job, and you get to miss out on $150,000 a year gainful employment. But there has to be political consequences to actions. People who legislate like this have to start losing elections. This is the information age. In the countries that regulate better and lower system of taxation, lower rates, they perform better. I scream for a flat tax all the time. Most of the former republics in the Soviet Union that were all communist, when we defeated them in the Cold War, they all now have flat taxes. Russia has a flat tax. Now you think we're the world's foremost economy, free market economy, we should have a flat tax. That's bullet point number 1 on my pledge. Let's get rid of that 70,000-page Internal Revenue Code where the IRS has been buying military-grade weapons. I don't know why. They have power of civil forfeiture. They can come and take money out of your bank account, okay, and they don't need a court order to do it, and they don't have to give you due process. I said, wait a minute, all wrong. IRS needs to be abolished, a simple flat tax to make everyone's life simpler, but that helps businesses. You make these decisions. I mean, the list of businesses that left New Jersey is very long. It's not just Exxon. Starbucks is leaving Seattle. Because, I mean, they've got the wrong people passing laws. You have to create an environment where you attract people. Governments need to treat citizens and business like their customers, need to be retained and sought after.
I mean, just look at our leadership here in New Jersey right now. I mean, they won't even pass no tax on tips. That was bad. Trump had, but New Jersey is not doing it. So that kills working class people right there.
Greed.
That's
everything they can.
It's political greed. Exactly. And the number of businesses that they drive out. I mean, I was fortunate as deputy mayor of my hometown.
No tax on overtime.
No tax on overtime, but we worked to bring a supermarket into our town along the 206 corridor, which still today now serves as our town's largest rateable, Murphy's Market. Not only was it convenience for our citizens and economic opportunity for jobs, it's our town's largest tax rateable. So, having the opportunity to, at a local level, exercise that broader political philosophy of you can affect your business climate to benefit your middle class. We just don't have enough people in the State House in Trenton to think that way. That has to change.
Patrick Iverson, Pemberton resident. I guess, the advocate for agriculture around here. One of the things I'd like to ask of you, when both of you get to represent us down in D.C., not an if, a when.
Water, not wine.
Well, it's fine. I don't judge. but to that point, and this can be a question for both of you, and I have two parts to this. One of it being, we have a lot of foreign entities that own farm ground in this country. That becomes a national security problem between the Chinese and everybody else that owns. What would you do to try to pass legislation that no foreign entities, because this is the same thing in other countries. We as Americans own ground in other countries. Why are they doing it here? Food security is national security. The other one, and I think, Damon, you had pointed to this earlier about data centers and AI. And back to your wind and solar episode on the electrical bill. We've lost farm ground to solar panels. We're now losing data centers. The most vulnerable ground is farmland because it's open. It's already cleared. These developers and these business people, that's where they're heading towards. So what bills or what legislation would you try to pass to protect farm ground? We don't have much of it left in the state. We're no longer the garden state anymore. We're now becoming the warehouse state. And to comment on your Mikey at Russo's deal, EO 18, I don't know if you've heard of this, our little frost bill, so to speak, when we had our frost back in April, acting like she's doing something for the farmers, which she is not, that we're going to put this disaster out. I believe it's another ploy to bring federal money into the state that we will waste however we want. Farmers are not going to see any of it, or it's hobby farmers, not farmers that farm for money, farmers with money. So there's a big difference there. We have NAP coverage. We have insurance that are covered these crops. Those people are covered. All right. You know, I sit on a couple committees. So go ahead.
No, thank you, Patrick. My first job was planting asparagus at Gravatt's Farm in Tabernacle.
There you go.
And I'm like, I don't want to do this forever, but you did a tough job. But hey, look, it was farm work and it was wonderful. My brother-in-law owns a cranberry farm in Medford. I pulled my share of cranberries out of the ground. So I love farming and I love this area as rural. What I would do is just look at agriculture. Like you mentioned, agriculture is critical infrastructure for our society. And the fact that openly the communist government of China and Chinese front companies are buying up land, which happens to also be around our military bases, okay, should be a red flag to everybody. It should be banned. We should eminent domain and take it back, give them a fair market value. I don't want to be real mean, but we should take back control of the land. We should do it and can do it. We can use eminent domain to do it. Localities can do it, and the federal government should pass a law that I would support that would ban foreign entities, especially hostile ones, from going and purchasing farmland in the United States. We have something in place now called CFIUS, the Committee on International Foreign Investment in the U.S. It's the same committee that Hillary Clinton was part of that okayed the sale of our uranium to Saddam in Russia. So it doesn't really work too good. So we would need to brush that up a little bit. Thank you, Clintons. It's funny because when that sale of uranium went through, there was a huge donation from Russian oligarchs into the Clinton Foundation. But Donald Trump was the one colluding with Russia. But it's critical infrastructure, it's food security, and it should just be banned and owned by Americans only, period. Uses. Yes. So I would do that.
No, I agree with everything Justin just said. Yes, I would definitely back legislation to stop it. And eminent domain, I think, is a great idea, actually. I mean, how many American citizens get eminent domain on? So why not get rid of the Chinese and buying up our land? That's one thing I disagree with Trump with, because he's kind of letting it go. Talked about it, but right now he's letting it go. It's a major problem, and it really is. I mean, everyone's trying to infiltrate the United States. You don't destroy a country like the United States from the outside. You have to do it from within.
And that's what they're doing.
Yes, and that's exactly what they're doing, and that's why the Democrats support open border, because they're socialist communists and they want to let everybody in, change this country, and then you have even. I know I'm going off base here, but Justin really hit everything on the head there, but. and we even have Chinese billionaires that are using women for surrogates.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and having hundreds of babies, like one guy, and they're born here, they go back to China, they're raised there, then they come here and they can run for president because they're American citizens. So it's a big deal. It's a lot to look into. And if they're buying up land around the military bases too, I mean, why are they doing it? I mean, they're one of our biggest enemies right now, stealing our intellectual information, and yeah, so that's.
I mean, remember the balloon? Remember that balloon? That was across the continent. Joe Biden
He stared at it.
He just watched it. Yeah, the communist government of China is an enemy. Not the Chinese people, but the communist government of China. It's no question.
Yeah, and that's why you look at it. It's more popular here.
Control our food supply.
Sure, if they get the control enough of it, yeah. Yeah.
What about the second part of that question about the data centers he asked earlier? Damon already did.
Sorry. Chairman of the Burlington County Young Republicans, Joe Saraday. I'm loving what I'm hearing, really, on a vast amount of subjects. But just to kind of go on his second part of the question, flat out, would you support a ban on the construction of new data centers, considering their economic and environmental impact, especially within pinelands and farmland?
Joe, I don't even know how. I mean, I have some experience with land use as an attorney and business development with an EB5 Regional Center for Development. I don't know how that could pass a feasibility study for environmental impact. I can't imagine. Well, you build a deck in your house, right? You try to build a deck in your house, and they like to string you up and crucify like you're St. John the Baptist or something. How they are.
I don't think they run the studies.
There's existing safeguards of environmental impact, phase 1, phase 2. These are really sophisticated studies that would shoot most of these down. I say this, put them on a redeveloped brownfield. Don't take up the open space. Don't take the farming. You've got plenty of dilapidated brownfields. Put them there. And if you have to and can, do it. Denmark and Holland are doing. They're building them underground, so you don't have to look at them. Okay, and if that's possible, put them underground. But we've got plenty of brownfield dilapidated. Like, look at Detroit. How much of that city is just decay? There's some refurbishing there, and urban centers. You can green it, put it underground if you can, or partial of it underground if you can to some degree. But there are ways to manage this a lot better. I have to share with you that I cared for my mother for 8 years. I think many of you know that. And I literally did not leave my house for 8 years other than running local errands once a week to care for my mom. When my mother passed in September 23, I started getting out a little bit more. I'm driving up 206 and I'm looking, what the hell is that? I mean, this acre and mile long building I'm like, what the hell happened? I know there's yakking about, I couldn't believe up 206. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They built that thing here? And then Medford being overbuilt, the affordable housing, another issue, state issue. But I looked at this and said, no, something's breaking down. We had a big fight over Seneca High School in Tabernacle years ago. I had a front row seat to that because I was deputy mayor of the town at the time, Jack. I know you served prior to that whole fight. That was, people said, oh, that's a farm in the Pinelands. Don't worry, they'll never put a high school there. And we learned the Pinelands are not protected, they're zoned, and zoning can change, right? And now we have a high school that looks like a university. I grew up next to a cornfield and peach tree farm that I used to go play in as a kid. Well, no more. But data centers, put them underground if you have to, and focus them on dilapidated brownfield sites. That's where the redevelopment should be. That way you can spare all the open space and farming. If I had my way.
Yeah, and actually, the data center too, the one that I was speaking about in Monroe Township, and I believe the mayor of Monroe Township, they're involved. I'm sure one hand is greasing the other, and that's why he's pushing it so hard. And it can be changed. And I'll just say this: if you can create AI, then you can figure out a way to put it near the ocean and use that water and cool and make sure you don't contaminate land or anything like that. I mean, if you're smart enough to do that, they're smart enough to do it. I think it's just there's a lot of money being thrown at it right now. I mean, you see the stock market with NVIDIA. I mean, people are investing big time, so they're pushing things really fast. And we're trying to beat China in the AI race too, which I think is important to do. But like I said before, it can't be, you can't hurt, people.
Let's not sell us out while we're trying to.
Exactly.
We also have, as a former guy that enlisted in the U.S. Navy at age 17, we have a number of retired naval ships. Like we have some pretty big aircraft carriers. Maybe we can put them on them off the coast somewhere. Possible. It could be worth
That
it.
just solves the problem. There we go.
Could be worth it.
But it's only to surveil us too.
Yeah.
So we don't really need AI.
No, AI. You know me with my 4G flip phone. I don't.
Hey, how you doing, Justin? Damon, my name's Sean Crump, and I have two questions, and statement/question. One, what do you guys plan on doing with the dollar devaluation that's going on in this country? Since 1913, since we had the Federal Reserve, the dollar has lost almost 90% of its value. From 2019 till today, $100 in 2019 today is worth $84 because we pumped trillions of dollars into circulation. Half the money in circulation today came the last 6 years. What do you guys plan on doing? Do you support auditing and ending the Federal Reserve and get rid of the federal income tax and bringing back value to the American dollar? And then my second question is, how do you feel about war powers? I believe that if you want to go to war, and I'm a Ron Paul guy, that's why I became a Republican. I believe you should only go to war when you have a declaration of war by Congress. How do you guys feel about that? Those two issues.
Sean, thank you. Thank you for that. We're glad you're a Republican now. Absolutely. All right, I would say with the dollar valuation, inflation, okay, is the money supply. And that's a great point you brought up. We pumped so much money. We increased our money supply so radically much during the COVID. Okay, it's one reason we had that 40-year high inflation under Joe Biden. When you pump up your money supply, okay, like we did, you're fulfilling the textbook definition economically of inflation. That is, you have too many dollars chasing too few goods. Now, at the time, Biden and the Marxist crowd are pumping up our money supply with trillions of dollars. Okay, they're putting downward pressure on energy production, raising taxes, and hurting productivity. So you've got more dollars chasing even fewer goods. Leads to inflation and murders the value of a dollar. So number one is, let's do what Donald Trump did. We still have a spending problem in this country, there's no question. We need a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, because when you stop spending so much, at least bring equilibrium into revenue and expenses with the federal government. Federal government takes in about $5 trillion a year right now, with a T. $5 trillion every year. Now, if you can't balance the book on that kind of money, I think we need new legislators. But you bring equilibrium into what you're bringing in and what you're expending. That means you stop borrowing. And when you stop borrowing, that's downward pressure on interest rates. Also, it's an anti-inflationary measure. You grow your economy smartly with regulatory and tax systems that we've talked about, and you do what? You increase productivity. When you increase productivity, you're fighting inflation. And that's how you can strengthen your dollar. Federal Reserve, I never had much use for it, because I think everything that they were created to do, they failed. I mean, they just show me the success of the Federal Reserve. We're going in for quantitative easing for a soft landing. Is that economic policy? We're going to come in for a soft landing. And not to mention, there's no oversight over it. And so if you're going to have something like that, control the nation's money supply, okay, your elected representatives should have more oversight on it. So I never had use for the Federal Reserve, because as the joke goes, it's not federal and there are no reserves. But it has, but if you look at it objectively, I think any intellectually honest assessment of the Federal Reserve, it has failed. It hasn't preserved the value of the dollar. It hasn't stopped inflation. It hasn't gotten us to full employment. You know what gets us to full employment? A strong economy, a robust job market, productivity and investment. That is what gets us to full employment, not the Federal Reserve. Now, President Trump, I think, is getting his wish, and we got a new guy coming in who I think will be better on interest rates, which is good. Inflation is high. What's the Federal Reserve do? Their first thing is to jump in and raise interest rates to fight inflation. So now the middle class has high inflation and high interest rates. That's Joe Biden years. But when inflation drops like it's been, okay, interest rates should commensurately follow. But, the Federal Reserve kind of sat on it. And I think that's political, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just kind of that kind of political class. Let's tweak Donald Trump a little bit more. You get a new guy in there, and I think there's some relief coming for his staff, which is good. I would absolutely want to audit the Federal Reserve. I mean, if anybody knows the game with our money supply and who's printing the money and who's buying the bonds and the T-bills, it's a little hokey. I would absolutely like to see an audit. We can have more monetary and fiscal policy that does what the Federal Reserve really fails to do. So you lower your rates of inflation, you save the value of your dollar. And that is what we would do. And your second question was?
Was about war powers.
War powers.
Like in the Constitution, it says you want to go to war. Only Congress can declare war.
Congress can declare war. Now, our Constitution, Article 1 says just that. Congress is responsible and tasked with declaration of war. Okay, that to me is legal. It's putting your country on a war footing legally. The second, Article 2 of our Constitution makes our president the commander-in-chief and in charge of all of our military. Now, what do we do in this day and age, in this world? I do not like, as a former guy in the military, I was under Reagan, so he was a six-shooting cowboy. And I don't like the idea of any constraints on what a president may need to do for us. Now, we can debate whether we need to do this or need to do that. So I would be careful, because if you think about this, Sean, the squad, AOC, they're the ones, would you want them to be declaring war for us? I mean, they couldn't pass, I think, a sixth grade current events test, AOC and the squad. I mean, you have to look at the composition of Congress and be a little scared. But Congress has a role. I was asked this question last night on the debate that came up on whether or not we should absolutely do that. We don't cut Congress out. We don't. I think the question was, if troops are going to be introduced somewhere to resolve any conflict in the Middle East, should Congress be on board? Yes, they should. They should. And I think right now, it's party line vote for the most part. Republicans are going to support the president, and so he technically has support of Congress. Democrats, they don't ever seem to give him the support for anything, so they don't. But the composition of those chambers change, and it could change this November. We hope it doesn't. War Powers Act, a lot of chatter that it's unconstitutional. It takes too much away from the president, because remember, one of the hallmarks of our Constitution is separation of powers. And there's Trump wants to do this, and the Democrats in Congress don't want to do that. I think if there was a war to be declared, last war we declared was World War II.
World War II.
Okay, but think about it, we're fighting war every week, right? Without Congress's declaration. I think time is running out on what the War Powers Act gave him. I think he's got a certain amount of days before he has to go back to Congress to get reauthorization. So we'll see what happens with that. War Powers Act, to me, it does infringe on the SOP, the separation of powers, but it might be needed. If we're going to say, Congress, look, we don't want to you can't give the foreign affairs and the international relations role to Congress, because that's clearly the president's. So this is how we're designed and built by our founding fathers, and there's a little bit of some ambiguity there. Do we take the power away from the president and give it to Congress? That's a violation of separation of powers. It's the president's purview for foreign affairs. But Congress declares war. All right, do we take that power away from them? No, because the Constitution expressly says Congress is the branch that declares war. So it's really, a lot comes down to who is sitting in Congress and whether or not they will just ad hoc support the president. We did this with George Bush. We're going to go and we have a front in Iraq, we're going to go fight. And enough congressmen said, yeah, all right, let's do it. Nobody wants to, for the most part, see like they're constraining the military, constraining the president, or appearing weak. So that's also an issue, too, of how the Congress and each individual member conducts themselves. So to me, War Powers Act itself might be unconstitutional. And I think it's a game of working it out as it comes between whoever the president is and whoever's in Congress and whatever the circumstances are that they're facing. I know that sounds like a politician's answer, but I think even if you look at our Constitution, it doesn't clearly say. It says the president's going to do foreign affairs. Okay, foreign affairs incur war, but Congress declares war. So how does this? I think they wanted balance. They didn't want a king, certainly why we designed our Constitution the way it did. We didn't want a king to decide, I'm going to take the country to war when I feel of it. He's got to answer to the people, and Congress has to be on board with funding in some degree. And they can always cut the purse strings if they want. They can cut the appropriations. Now, whether they want to do that, some would. I think the squad and the AOCs would be fine with it. But I think like the John Fettermans of the world would say, no, we're not going to pull the plug on our men and women who are over there. And as a former guy in the Navy, dedicated my campaign to the men and women of our armed forces. So let's worry about them first. Let's get the job done. And, let's peace through strength. Weakness invites aggression. And try to wrestle with this issue. And it won't be resolved because it is who's in Congress and it is who the president is. And look, if Kamala Harris was your president now, she might be handling Iran a lot different. Who knows?
Of course she
probably would. We do know. But it's a back and forth. That's a fluid part of our Constitution. It's a fluid part of the relationship between the executive and congressional branch, legislative branch. And so it's a fluid part, and it goes back and forth.
I took the whole question, so I'll double back on that.
One thing I wanted to make sure that we think about is like these data centers, if they're coming here, it's going to raise our electric bills. I mean, we're going to need to have these people that are coming in to build, like, say, a nuclear type of plant because they're going to need that kind of energy. So we should probably insist that if they're going to be coming in here, that they have set up something like. And I know everybody's afraid of nuclear, but I did some investigating, found that the waste can actually be recycled.
Yes, it can.
Yes.
Yes.
So that it would be something that we should consider. Okay.
France is very good at that, recycling waste.
Yeah, and it is a lot safer than what it was as well. I mean, I remember you hear Bill Spadea talking about nuclear plants and for our power. Well, I would say the data centers come, like I said, they're really generating a ton of money. So wherever they're at, they should subsidize our electric.
Yeah. And Damon, that will happen because when you have any type of facility, okay, because I used to work, like I said, I've had land use, I've had clients that wanted to put solar farms in New Jersey, different places, some on industrial zone land, some on a vacant lot. But when you dump or need that much power on existing, what we call EDC infrastructure, electric distribution company, it's your utility company poles. When you need and have to draw that much power, okay, you have to go through a mind-boggling feasibility process with not only the utility company, but with PJM, our grid people, our regional transmission organization. And they're not going to let something go on, a piece of dental floss. They're going to tell the company, all right, you guys want to juice 10 to 25 megawatts, you're going to have to upgrade your switch station, your gearbox, everything, lines, wires, and that's something that they're going to have to pay to upgrade. To me, it's better if it falls on the private investment dollar to do it, because that way as ratepayers, we don't have to do it. Okay, so that's one thing they'd have to do, but it's, again, where's better infrastructure, urban or rural? Urban would be another reason to put the data center on that dilapidated brownfield. And they shouldn't be able to get around. I mean, that's a heavy-duty piece of regulation and feasibility for energy consumption.
Hi, Pat Guthrie, just a resident here, senior. And my question is, when I was growing up, I was always told people wanted to run for positions in politics because they cared about the people and they wanted to do something to support the residents to make their lives better. As I look at politicians now, people are becoming politicians for money. I'm watching mostly with the Democrats that say, I was a poor farmer, I grew up on a farm, and now I'm a politician and I'm a multimillionaire. How do you feel about term limits? I feel very strongly that there should be term limits. We get all these lifetime politicians that want to stay in, and I don't know if it's insider trading. I'm not sitting in amongst these people, but I see them getting rich while the people are getting poor. I just wanted your views on that, since you are running And I would definitely like to see term limits on all these politicians that are representing us in Congress and Senate. And even when it comes to local, people don't realize that most of the politics start locally, and it's so important just to go out and vote for your councilmen and mayors so that you can take care of what's in your own yard and then vote for people that are taking care of the country. So what are your views on that?
Well, I signed the term limits pledge because I believe in term limits as well. I mean, there's something to look at when you see somebody it's like AOC, who's a bartender, and she goes to Congress. She makes $175,000 a year, and all of a sudden she's worth $20 million. So, and there's definitely insider trading. So they've got to pass that bill to block, people in Congress and Senate that are elected officials, from insider trading. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she picks better stocks than Warren Buffett, and she does. There's an app. It's called that you can track her trading, because of how good she is at trading, and she just happens to pick it at the right time, at the right moment, and sell at the right time, the right moment. So so definitely need to be term limits. We don't need a Biden in Senate for 40 years and then vice president and president. I mean, the guy was a dead man walking already when he was president. But still, I mean, he got rich off of it as well. You shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't be able to make any extra money than your salary itself. And if anybody does, that's why there should be term limits. I mean, that's kind of why they made Congress 2 years, because we do handle money, and if you're not handling it right, they can vote you out. But it doesn't seem to work that way anymore. People still get back in over and over and over again. But yes, 100%, I believe in term limits, and that's why I signed the pledge.
And Joe Biden gave my commencement address at my law school graduation. I told him that it was horrible. It's horrible. Yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem. It's been going on for a while, and it's kind of out in the open. We all know what a lot of the political class does to enrich themselves. We all know it. And their families. Their families seem to do well. You ever meet a poor Biden? A poor Clinton? A poor Obama? A poor Pelosi? A poor and struggling Harry Reid family member? You won't. Okay, we know what they're doing. The Clintons are the worst. Biden's, they're all bad. What they're doing is they're abusing their office. There's no question about that. Nancy Pelosi, okay, I mean, the thing, it's so arrogant, okay? Sunlight is the best disinfectant. We need federal law passed, okay, so that whoever is serving in Congress at any time has to abide by the federal law. No trading of stocks. Maybe some presidents put their money in blind trust. I don't think the Trump family has, but there should be. I know Trump had introduced some legislation, okay, that would ban trading of stocks by family members of congressional members. I believe, paraphrasing it. I'm not sure it ever saw the light of day or was passed, but this is a litmus test for new people seeking office. It's the system, okay. It's not who's sitting there. It's the person who's there, who's greedy, doesn't have to answer to the voter because they have a safe district. And Pelosi spends 30 years there. The problem here, too, is apathy, folks. This is how these people are getting elected, and it's how they're staying there for 30 or 40 years. Now, I know some of you might not like this, but I'll always be honest and transparent and shoot you straight. I oppose term limits. I don't like them. I never did. We're the term limit. Okay? You okay with term limits, you're giving up your right, your sacred right, to vote for whoever you want to. I wanted to vote for Ronald Reagan again in 1988. Why can't I? Because he's term limited. The presidents are term limited to 2 terms. We're the term limits. We decide who goes. We the people, first 3 words of our Constitution's preamble, we the people. We decide who represents us in Congress. We decide when they go. We decide when they come home, and we decide when they're done, and we decide when they're replaced. What's the problem? Our apathy. Our turnouts are too low, and that's how these people are getting in office and staying there. They're staying there. We need sunlight being the best disinfectant. We need a series of sunlight laws. And if you look at filings of people in office, they should be made public. When you run for federal office, you have to file financial disclosure. I know you had to do one, right? I had to do one.
Yeah, of course.
And my financial picture is nothing to write home about. It's kind of depressing, so I don't draw much attention. But when the question is how do you amass tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of wealth for you and your family when you make 174 grand a year, which is a very nice paycheck. It's a nice living, but it doesn't predicate all this wealth. And we know what they're doing, but the system, the political class is so pervaded with corruption, we can't seem to make the change. Well, folks, I got news for you. We're the change. We're the change. We're the term limits. This is like this. We can lobby people. We can win primaries. We can win elections. We can toss people out of office. It's hard. It's not easy. It takes time, money, engagement, patience. But that's why I don't like term limits, because we've got young people that we ask to go. Young people die for our right to vote. The privacy that we enjoy in the ballot booth. The people that have given their lives that we vote. And one of the cherished freedoms we have is our political freedoms and our conscience of voting for whoever we want. I mean, yes, is it a bad idea for Nancy Pelosi to be in office? Yes, it's a horrible idea. But I got to look at California. Like, don't you people have anybody else you can send us? But the problem with some of these districts, and we talked about the gerrymandering, what happens in CD 14? Well, the guy that AOC replaced wasn't really much better than her. So you have to start to wonder. I mean, it's a reflection on people and apathy. Voting levels are too low. And I think if we can get more people into the system, we would see some change. We would. But remember, we're the term limits. Don't give up that right to vote for whoever you want for. It's sacred. It is absolutely sacred. People have died for it. And it's not just a vote. It's your conscience and your passion and your heart and your dreams and your aspirations of who you vote for. So I wouldn't want to see, look, Chris Smith has been in office now for about 40 plus years, and we like him, generally pro-life conservative, a great guy, pretty good guy. But, do we want him to be, we throw the baby out with the bathwater? If we get rid of the Nancy Pelosi's, you get rid of the Chris Smiths. Ultimately, it's we the people who decide. Of all things, are members of the House of Representatives. It's every 2 years, and it's a direct election by us. It's a popular vote. So it's work on, I think, apathy, more rates of participation, and sunlight is the best disinfectant, folks. It's the best disinfectant. We know we have the problem of corruption, and we just have to keep beating the drum until we get it fixed. It's not easy. It's a heavy lift. But I would differ from Damon. I would oppose term limits because it takes away a freedom from us that we all now enjoy, voting for whoever we want in the privacy of voting booth.
Any more questions?
I disagree. So, well, yes, I agree on term limits because I believe human beings are inherently flawed, and if you're in that position for too long, then you can be corrupted. So that's all. I mean, I've absolutely moved to a different position if you're a congressman or run for governor. After the fact, fine, no problem. But yeah, I think if you stay in one position for too long, that's a problem. It can be a problem.
Any more questions? I'm looking at the clock here on this camera. 1 hour and 31 minutes. I think we did a pretty good job. So, yeah, 1 hour is for Justin, I think it says here. So,
I do talk to them.
Justin and Damon, thank you very much.
I love this forum because it gives us a chance to develop the thought and develop a dialogue with you. Because half the time, I had to drive up to Passaic County, sub-freezing weather, to speak for 2 minutes with no questions and can't give out literature for a county convention that wanted me to speak for two minutes, thanked me for my time, and I went back home. I said, we need to do better with candidates and just start to develop the narrative and dialogue, because as a party, we need to do that with people, or they're not going to vote for us Republicans until they know what the hell motivates us to do what we do.
Our votes and prayers are with you for the primary here. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
America's Pulse Network. Damon's on. Tell them when you're on.
Oh yeah, I'm on. They're every Monday. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Jack and Constance are every other Tuesday at
second and fourth Tuesday.
Second and fourth Tuesday.
You can send them questions and I'll answer them.
I used to do more. I used to have a show 921 as well, but I had to dial back a little bit because I'm campaigning. So I'm just doing one show. Well, I've done 2 shows a week because we have the Pulse, which is when multiple podcasters come together. Justin's over there a lot. That's on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. But you can see it's on every social media platform out there. I mean, you name it, it's on there. It streams live simultaneously. Then we talk about X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Truth Social, Parler. I mean, every single one. So it's.
Anybody here vote earlier? Was early voting started? Okay, did you vote by paper?
You guys.
Thank you. Did you vote by paper? let people know that if they voted by paper ballot early, they can go to the Division of Elections website and track my ballot to make sure it's not lost somewhere, that they actually can see that it was received. It does not divulge who you voted for, but just that your ballot was received. Yeah, make sure, especially if they mailed it in and didn't take it to a Dropbox. Thank you all. It's wonderful to have you here. Thank you very much for your caring and your engagement. And good luck to all our candidates. Heather, I know she left, but Pemberton, I know you guys are a lot of fun out there.
Go ahead, Mark. Good seeing you.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up. Because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. But America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. The New Jersey State House Watch, hosted by Jack Brangan and Constance Detzel. APN's The Pulse is moderated by either Alexandra, Damon, Elena, or Seth. Also tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Join the revolution because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Yeah. This one's for New Jersey. For every working family that's had enough. Name's Damon Galdo. And I'm just getting started. Job site dust to the streets of the shore. Steel-toed boots, yeah, I know what I'm working for. Middle class hurting, every bill going up. While suits in D.C. say, man, just trust us. I'm a builder by trade, put my sweat in the ground. Now I'm building up hope for my hometown. Jersey's my home, blue-collar soul. I don't make excuses, I get it done, that's all I know. I felt the pressure, I've lived that grind, trying to give your kids a better life. I won't forget where I came from, man, cause I'm built by work. I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not a career man who forgot what hard work means. They talk real big, but nothing ever changes. While Jersey keeps drowning in the same old pain, I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah. Donald Norcross been there year after year. Same old story while the struggle's still here. Claims he's for workers, but look around town. Rent sky high, grocery bills breaking us down. Where's the relief for the middle class grind? Cause all I see is folks falling behind. I ain't got decades in some DC chair. I got skin in the game, cause my family's here. Time, they had their shot, and tell me, Jersey, what have we got? It's time for change, time for a stand, time for a work, and not another plan, not another plan, not another plan. Yeah! I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not some suit who sold you fantasy. We waited long enough, it's time to demand a future built by honest hands for Jersey strong, for this great land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah, this ain't left, this ain't right. This is fight for what's right. For every mom working double shifts, every dad praying they don't miss. I'm running for my kids, running for yours, for a state that deserves so much more. Not talk, that's the plan. Let's build it back with a working man for our children. children's dreams for a better way. I'll fight for Jersey every day. No empty words, I'll take the stand, 'cause I'm built by work. Yeah, I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. While the old guard keeps playing the same old game. But we're done with waiting, done with excuses. It's time for a man who knows how to do this. I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon, Galdo, built by working hands. New Jersey 1st District. If you're tired of the talk and ready for work, walk with me. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Make the crowd chant with no music. Blue lights cut through the Jersey night. Another call, another fight. Partner riding by his side. Poor Paul steady, full of pride. He does not quit, he does not slow. Run straight where the danger goes. But when the bills come crashing in, the handler pays again. Yeah, the badge is heavy, the job is tough, but these brave dogs deserve enough. Boots on the ground, paws in the fight. K9 heroes working all night. They wear the shield, they hold the line. They give their all every time. If they are officers when danger calls, they should be covered through it all. So we raise our voice and raise this jam for the dogs who always take the stand. Word got out across the land. Country Hearts started a band. Adam Wardrop brought the flame. Bubba Beer back the name. And Colby Lee Swift with strings that cry, singing for the dogs who never ask why. Just good men trying to make it right. Standing up in the spotlight. Yeah, small town hearts and a country sound. Standing up and laying it down. Boots on the ground, paws in the fight. K9 heroes working all night. They wear the shield, they hold the line. They give their all every time. If they are officers when danger calls, they should be covered through it all. So we raise our voice and raise this jam for the dogs who always take the stand. Bellevue lights on a Jersey stage. Crowd gets loud, the good hearts raise. These dogs do not choose the line. Still they cross it every time. Till the budget makes it right, we will sing into the night. Boots on the ground, paws in the fight. America, hear us loud tonight. Fund the heroes who cannot speak. Stand by the brave who guard our streets until the day the system stands tall. We will not stop, we will not stall. Country strong and back in the blue. K9 heroes, this song is for you. For every handler standing tall, and every dog who gives his all.
Hey, it's great to be on with you. This is a great podcast. It's a lot of fun and it's informative and it's real information. It's none of the frills and none of the nonsense that you hear on the legacy media. Just telling the story of what's happening right now. It's what I do with my newsletter that I get out to anybody who wants to see it. It's what you're doing with this podcast. America needs to know what the real deal is, and you're the real deal.